sewing friends, today I am here to share 10 garments and or 5 looks that I am hoping to sew up this winter. So I have a huge stack of fabrics next to me, and yeah, I've had a really good think about what I'm wanting to sew in the coming season. So not just like the next month or so, but probably like all through like from now until March or so. So it does look like a lot, but I've got some fun sewing inspiration and patterns and fabrics to share that I'm very excited about. So my last video was also like kind of a wardrobe plans video. So I will be putting like chapters into this one in case you want to like skip through anything, because I will incorporate some of the knit tops that I talked about last time into this video. And so I'll probably breeze through those a little bit faster. I'll really have to breeze through everything because it's a lot. But I have been doing the Seamwork Design Your Wardrobe workshop for the last couple of weeks, and it's always something that I really enjoy. I find it such a grounding exercise, and I always learn a little bit more about not just like what I want to sew, but also more about my style and just really just generally like more about myself. So I'll have kind of some self-reflections, but I'll save that for the end. And so just a little bit about kind of their planning process that I think it is so well thought out, and yeah, it gives a lot of like structure, but also a lot of freedom to experiment with how you want to use that structure. So it usually starts out with kind of a inspiration phase and defining your context. So like, what are you generally looking for? Like if this is your party season, if you're wanting to focus on like workout clothes, yeah, kind of like finding just a general context, and then there's lots of inspiration gathering, some editing down. There's a lot of really helpful reflective questions to help really like narrow the process that I find really good. So yeah, there's that phase, and then you make a mood board and determine your color palette, and from there go from like criteria. So what are some kind of like practical things you need about this clothing? What kind of fabrics? Do you need to have pockets? Do you need to be able to ride a bike? Like lots of different, yeah, really practical elements. And then from there, it helps you look at what kind of fabrics and then what kind of patterns to settle on to build your sewing cue for the season. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about my inspiration and then get into the garments and specifically the looks that I am wanting to put together. So Seamwork really places a lot of emphasis on not necessarily building like a capsule wardrobe, but making sure that the things that you spend so much time like planning and sewing and finishing, that it's going to have an actual place in your wardrobe. So make sure that it matches with like at least 3 things. It doesn't have to be a full-on capsule wardrobe, but make sure that you can get a lot of good wear out of it. So their solution to that is to build some outfit formulas and to build some looks. So I will share those as well. So for me, the 2 things that I took forward going into the inspiration gathering phase were number 1, just kind of the practicalness of what I need in my wardrobe. And I talked a lot about that in my last video, how I really want getting dressed to have kind of like an outfit formula and to have sort of a capsule wardrobe where I can mix and match everything, and getting dressed is just like very easy. But at the same time, I do also need like some novelty. So basics with little details are really what I am hoping for to kind of add that bit of novelty and excitement and still be able to have that ease of getting dressed in the morning. So elevated basics is my number 1 criteria. And then number 2, as I moved into that kind of inspiration gathering phase, I always like to look at what am I excited about for the season for the coming season. So I really like kind of connecting to nature, and that is something that makes me kind of feel like part of the world, if that makes sense. Yeah, I work from home. Like we have a very kind of nuclear family structure. So there's a lot of ways that I can kind of sometimes feel isolated, especially going into the winter. I know that's like a very common thing. And one of the things that I find really keeps me grounded is kind of an exercise to, I've incorporated it into Design Your Wardrobe, but it's really something that I was doing for my own mental health like beforehand. And that is to take some time and really think about what are the things that I love about the changing of the season and what's coming next. And so now that has kind of materialized, I guess, into joining into this process and making a mood board. So for images, primarily for my mood board, I looked at themes of winter. And so like my search, what are those called? What I was searching was less about like red skirt or brown top, but was more like winter aesthetic, frozen leaves, cozy quilts, like more of that. And then I find for me that is easier to then like interpret into colors, fabrics, and patterns than to just start with clothing shapes. And then again, it does like have that grounding effect of connecting me to nature. So that is what I started with, and I will share my mood board. So I'm really happy with this one. I gave myself a time limit because I could just I could mood board for ages and ages and ages. I find it's like such a fun process. So I started with like Pinterest and Google, just like searching images, and then I put the ones that I was really like feeling and the ones that kind of fit together into Mila Note to create this little mood board that I will be printing out and putting in my sewing space as kind of like a reminder, and also, yeah, not only a reminder of like the sewing stuff, but also to take that moment and be grounded in the season that we're in, rather than like, oh, I just can't wait for spring or I just can't wait for summer, but to just really like be in the moment. So from the mood board, it was pretty easy to pull some colors. I actually kind of cheated and like I put one of my fabrics into my mood board because I knew it was something that I wanted to utilize and kind of build into my sewing plans like from the beginning. So, but color-wise, they very much match. My mood board very much matches kind of what I was showcasing for my knit tops in my last video. It's a lot of like deep brown, crimson red, a lot of nice like woodsy greens. But then the color that kind of popped out to me in my mood board was this like rusty, like pumpkin-y color. And it just kind of gave everything like a nice wintry glow, which is what I have decided to name the collection. That is part of the Seamwork process. You kind of pick a couple of words. Mine were woodsy, cozy, delicate, and moving that into the name for a collection, which I picked Winter Glow. So that is kind of what drove me to finish out putting these fabrics together, because like I knew I wanted to use the one that I put in the mood board, as well as utilize some of those knit top projects from my last video. But yeah, the other ones, just to give it like a nice kind of round, warm feeling, is definitely something that I wanted to take with me into planning the rest of the looks. So the next step after determining your color palette is to set some parameters for criteria around what it's actually going to, what the garments are going to feel or look like. And so for me, the main ones that I needed to focus on were things that I could easily work from home in, which includes filming. So keeping things like a little bit elevated, a little bit nice for work, which definitely falls into my whole like elevated basics business. And then another thing is that I really want only knit tops. I find that that's just really what I reach for. And so having really pretty flowy blouses is just like not really a thing that's going to work for me. I wanted some jeans. Every bottom piece and every dress for me needs to have an element of stretch. Like I don't need a full elasticated waist necessarily, but maybe the fabric has stretch, or yeah, there's some kind of like a shearing panel, something like that. I don't really like zips. I don't like the way they like feel on me. And I don't want to be either having things like too big as I stand up and walk around, or like a waistline that's cutting into me when I am sitting down. So I am definitely someone that my waist measurement changes a lot in different positions. So I want to keep that in mind because comfort is definitely key. And with those things in mind, I looked at my fabric collection, what I had recently bought for my knit tops project, as well as some bottoms to go with them, all with this kind of generalized theme of winter glow and keeping in mind the criteria of comfort, long sleeves, some element of stretch. And yeah, was able to put together 5 looks comprised of 10 garments. So I will get into those. So for the first one, it's maybe not the strongest like outfit because it's just one piece. I should say I'm not including any outerwear in this because it's just not what I need. I really need to focus on main garments. I'm pretty happy with the accessories and outerwear that I have at the moment. So yeah, I will be like styling these, not just with each other, but yeah. So anyway, this one is the first one, and this is the fabric I've had for a couple of years now. It is a Lise Tailor Viscose Poplin, I think. And it's a really nice weight for a viscose. So I have already like pre-washed this, and it still has like quite a bit of structure to it. And I managed to find enough that I could make myself a dress as well as a little matching one for my daughter. And so I've already cut hers out, and I'm thinking that this would be a really cute little matchy-matchy set for the holidays. Now, I think this like crimson-y color is really, really pretty. Again, like for the holidays, but it's also something that I would wear year round. I really love this color. So what I've decided to do for this one is for her, I am making a mini wren dress from Chalk and Notch. And then for me, I want to hack the Heatwaves dress from Les Perlines. It's a Canadian-French pattern company, so excuse my bad pronunciation. But yeah, so I want to hack the Heatwaves dress. So that is Heatwaves. It's definitely meant for the summertime, but I want to make it more of a, yeah, maybe all seasons dress by just lengthening the sleeve. I don't think I want full length, but definitely like elbow or 3/4 length. And then I think I want to bring up the skirt. I really love the shape of this skirt with that like the panel and then the slit up the side, but I think I want to make that mini length to kind of balance the longer sleeve. I think long sleeve and midi length might be just like a lot of dress and a lot of print for me. So I think by shortening it a little bit, that is going to be key. Now, I haven't made this dress, but I have peruse the instructions, and the construction is really cool. Everything finishes really nice and neatly. It is quite fitted, but it has a thick panel of shearing in the back panel. Now I am probably going to have to do a full bust adjustment on this one because it is princess seamed, and I'm not thrilled about that. But it is really like the look that I want for this fabric, and it's been in my stash for ages, so I really want to get that made up this year. Okay, the second look is actually an outfit. There are separates and there's more than one piece. So that is going to be these two. So this definitely hits that like woodsy vibe that I am going for. And this one I talked about in my last video. So it is a stretch rib knit. It is a really nice like t-shirt weight material that I'm really excited about getting sewn up. And I want to make the Seamwork Orlando hack from Andrea D. Jones. Made a couple of these where she adds a button placket and makes it more of like a cardigan inspired t-shirt. So it still has that really nice scoop neck, which I clearly really like, but then I will also add long sleeves, and then the buttons will give it a little bit more interest and dimension. And I found a really cute button in my stash that has kind of this like bronzy ring around it, so I think that it makes it like a little more industrial kind of looking. Yeah, and definitely fits that like woodsy theme. So that is that one. And then to go with it, I decided I really need some more interesting pants, some nice trousers, because all I have is jeans and they are all like mid-wash and the same shape. So I'm wanting a nice wide leg pant with these. This is a stretch cotton twill, and I really like how, I don't know if you can really like see it on camera, but it has a really nice sheen and the twill is like quite pronounced, so it has a really good texture. I have had this for years. I got it to make a pinafore, but in like, gosh, I want to say I got it like 4, even 5 years ago. And in all that time, I've still not made a pinafore from it. So I'm like, it's time to just let that plan die and use it for something else. So I'm excited to get these made up. The pattern I'm looking at is the newest Seamwork pattern. It is the Noah. I was going to say Nolan, but that's a different one. Yeah, the Noah or the Nora. Can't quite remember. It's here. I'll put it in. It's a really cute wide leg trouser with a really pretty welt pocket on it. I think that dressed up it could be really special, especially in this like bright color. Yeah, I love this color because it is bright, like it's very, very saturated, but also because it's kind of like a rust, it feels like a neutral. So I think that'll be a big wardrobe win, yeah, especially as a pretty pair of wide leg trousers. The next look I have is a fitted t-shirt and a long elasticated waist midi skirt. So this is a look that I've been really inspired by recently, like from people I follow mostly on Instagram. Yeah, styling it with these midi skirts with like knee-high boots and a chunky sweater. So like Sally from Secret Life of a Seamstress, Sally from Modista Sewing, Becca from Fiber and Floral. I will try to like pop some pictures in here. I've been really, really loving this look, and it's definitely a midi skirt is something I am missing in my wardrobe. I tried to make one this summer and then my wash machine broke it right after I made it, and it was tragic. But I want to try again. So I have these two fabrics. So I have this gorgeous chocolate brown, and for this I want to make a Seamwork Goldie. And I really like this pattern because it is just like, the body of it just feels like a regular scoop neck t-shirt, but then it's got some gathering at the shoulders and some ruching at the bust. And the ruching at the bust like brings the neckline down into kind of a sweetheart neckline, which in theory I think is very, very cute. I really like that as, yeah, an extra detail, something that makes it a little bit different. It's very 90s inspired, a little bit romantic, which I love. However, having a very full bust, I don't know that I want more attention there. So I'm gonna try it. I will baste the elastic in and see how that goes. But even if I end up like taking that out, I think the little puff sleeve and this chocolate brown will be a very, very cute t-shirt. And then to go with it, I have a fabric that I have been wanting for years. And so a couple years ago, I did a video for Minerva where I did like, it was probably a capsule wardrobe, or maybe it was like a sew the trends kind of video. And I had this fabric from Atelier Brunette. They gave me a sample of it and I like absolutely fell in love with it. But of course, after the video, I had to send it back. And so it's just been like low key on my wish list, yeah, for years. And a couple weeks ago, I was with the Seamwork gals. The Netherlands Social Club, had a little outing. We went to the Dior exhibit at the Kunstmuseum, and then we went for a lunch out on like a roof terrace in the sunshine. It was amazing. And then we did some fabric shopping, and I came across this one and I was like, today is the day. And I finally got it and I absolutely love it. So yeah, it's an Atelier Brunette viscose crepe from a few years ago, but it's definitely like still in circulation. I'll try to pop a few, well, I'll put in links for everything that I can below. And so there's a couple shops that I know still have this. And yeah, I just think it is so beautiful and it works really well with that trend that I've been seeing that I've really liked of the midi, like printed midi skirts with some knee-high boots. And I have a couple pairs, so I'm really, really excited about this one. I also think like it'll go with lots of other t-shirts and things that I already have, as well as like a couple of blouses if I want to really dress it up. So this is probably the piece I am most excited about, even if it's maybe not the piece I like need the most, but I definitely want to get this one sewn up really soon. It'll be so pretty with this, but also with lots of other things already in my wardrobe. My next little pair are these two. So this is a bamboo cotton jersey, and this is a wool elastic poly mix. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. But yeah, it has like a little bit of stretch to it. And for the top, I want to hack together two of my favorite forget-me-not patterns. So I wanted the drapey, beautiful cowl neck with the yoke insert from the Sylvie top. But rather than like the flutter sleeve or a sleeveless version, I would like a full long sleeve. So I'm just gonna take that from the Forget-Me-Not Iris pattern and do a little mashup. I've done this hack before, but in a short sleeve. So this one will just be like a full longer sleeve. I love that little cowl neck, and the yoke detail I think is really pretty. So that will be this one right here. And to go with that, I have really been wanting to make a Bernadette skirt from Friday Pattern Company. So a mini skirt was on my Make 9, a Make 9 that I'm realizing I definitely will not be completing by the end of December, but I can at least check off, hopefully, a mini skirt, and for that I do want the Bernadette. I was kind of on the fence because it's a pattern that I don't have in my stash, and again, since I bought a lot of new fabrics for this season, I do kind of want to stick to what I have, but I don't have this kind of 90s style pleated skirt. I also looked through my dresses, seeing if it was like something I could hack. And then I met up with my friend Linda, and she happened to be wearing one, and I was like, it's so perfect. And she's like, yeah, it is perfect, and it's so fun to sew. So that sold me, and this is going to be a little Bernadette skirt. Again, this is a fabric that has some stretch to it, so that is going to be nice and comfortable. I think I'm going to make the fabric belt, but I don't know if I'm going to make the fabric the little bag that goes with it, just because this is not, it's more of a suiting type wool, so I don't know if it's going to really like hold its shape well enough for the bag. But so maybe I'll hack on some kind of inseam pocket or something. But yeah, this is going to be a Bernadette skirt, and I'm very excited. So the last project, well, the last outfit, the last 3 projects are a t-shirt, a pair of jeans, and then like an overshirt to go with them. And I just love these colors together. It definitely is like that woodsy, glowy, winter light vibe to me. So for the t-shirt, I talked about this last video. This is a viscose jersey that is really like nice and thick. It has a lot of body to it, and I think it will be really cool made up as the Brigit tee from Pattern Scout. So this one, I love the neckline. Like the neckline is really the thing that sold me on it, but the construction is also really fun. And I tend to get really like chilly in my, like between my shoulder blades. And because this has, the finishing is like a little half lining, I'll have a nice little extra layer back there, and I think it'll keep me really toasty warm. So I'm very excited about the Brigit tee. I also just, this color is everything. And then I really need some jeans, and I've been putting off this project for like 2 years. I've had the fabric, I've had the pattern, and I just need to get over myself and yeah, get to it. So this is a like kind of hatch texture stretch cotton denim that, again, I've had it for like 2 years and I absolutely love it. And I just really need to stop procrastinating, stop freaking myself out. It's the fly. I've never done a successful fly. I tried it once and it did not go well, and I've just been put off about it for a really long time. So if you have like tips on sewing a zip fly, send them my way, because this is what has been stopping me from making jeans, and I really need some jeans right now because my favorite jeans are on their like last days. Like it's a pretty sad situation. I don't want to go out and replace them with another ready to wear pair because I have the fabric, I have the pattern. I just need to get over myself. So that is those. And then similar kind of story. I know that I have needed like a little overshirt in my wardrobe for ages. When I was with my mom this summer, she had a like tencel twill chambray little button-up shirt, and I wore it almost every day. And I was really sad to give it back to her. And so I really need to make one of my own. And I didn't have a chambray, but I have had this viscose twill in my stash for quite a while. I have the perfect amount to make a shirt and then have like a little bit left over in case I need to recut something or if I do something wrong, because I've never made a shirt before. And I know that like viscose is not really where you want to start with shirt making because it does tend to like shift and move a lot. But again, I think if I like make myself make a toile, I just won't actually get around to the thing that I'm really excited about. And so I think kind of doing like the risk reward assessment, I think it would be better for me to try to do the thing that I really want and fail than to try to make myself, than to give myself more steps and like more barriers to actually completing the thing. So I'm gonna just go for it with this viscose twill, and I'm gonna use the Pattern Scout Byrdie button up. So it's like a very classic shirt style with a collar and a collar stand. It's got a button placket, a sleeve tower placket, and some breast pockets. It also comes with bust cup sizes, which I absolutely appreciate because then I don't have to spend my time doing a whole other step. I can just get right to it. So I am very excited about it. Again, I feel a bit intimidated, I feel a bit daunted, but I just need to like get over myself and get to it. So that is like the practical side of design your wardrobe. As I said, I always get something like a bit personal out of it. So I thought I would share that. It is a little bit vulnerable, even for me on here, but yeah, gonna try to be open because I do think it is important to kind of validate these things, especially when like we're so bombarded with, particularly like for women in creative spaces, there's a lot of dismissal. And so just to hopefully like by sharing it offers some validation or invites maybe you to look inward a bit. Yeah, so I've done this process like several times, but every time it's like a little bit different and I discover something new. And so for me this time around, the key question that stuck out was, why is clothing important to you? Which is like, seems pretty like innocuous, but it ended up sending me into like this whole thing. um, yeah, so I started thinking about how it asks you to imagine how would you feel if you had the right wardrobe for you. And I was like, oh, I would feel so present. So I know that when I'm feeling my best and I am wearing something that like affirms that mood or feeling, it makes like everything just a bit easier. Like I'm less in my head. I am more relational. I can get my work done better. And it's like, oh yeah, so it makes me feel connected and present in my body. And I started sitting with that and kind of unpacking like, well, why does it matter to feel like I'm in my body? That sounds like such like a vague, like woohoo kind of language. And I started thinking about like, well, when am I not in my body? And thinking about how like I can very much retreat into my head, that I can become like almost like I feel like half a person. Like I feel very isolated. I can really just go very inward. And when I do that, I struggle in my relationships. I struggle with my work, with parenting, like across the board. And I started thinking about like why that is and why does clothing like help with that. And I started thinking about like all the messages that I grew up with, like in my academic space, telling me that I'm only as good as my ideas, and that your body, your heart, they're nice extras, but really it's about your ideas and your thoughts. My religious space saying that like bodies are connected to sexuality and sexuality is something to be like shut down and stamped out. Having ADHD and sensory issues, which is my experience growing up with, was like the Frozen treatment, like conceal it, don't feel it, don't let it show. And then later, like my chronic illness, and everything was very much about just like shutting off, becoming divorced from my body, that like my head, my thoughts, my ideas are the only things that matter. And sewing, I think, has become so important to me because it is, not only does it make the clothing that acknowledges and accommodates and welcomes my body with, it helps me be like less judgmental. I Yeah, there's so much I could say about that, but also the sewing process like takes an idea that is from my head, that is from my mind, and then turns it into something physical that I can literally put on my body and experience that affirmation, accommodation, and acknowledgement that I think I grew up starving for. And so in that healing, or that in that like sewing is so healing for me, and leaning into clothing is also so healing. And again, it's something that I like get so frustrated by sometimes when people are like, "Oh, you sew your own clothes. That's so cute." Like, no, this is like me healing my inner child. This is me like reclaiming so much of myself that got like stamped down and stomped out in like my teenage years. Like this is a big deal. It's not cute. It's not nice. It's not like, oh, it's not a thing to be dismissed. And I know it might sound like maybe I'm taking myself way too seriously in this, but I do think it's important to acknowledge. And it's not like every time I'm sitting at my machine, I'm like, okay, this is therapy time. Like, it's not that intense, but on the other side, to like kind of combat that creative dismissal, I do think it's really important. And I do think it is a good thing for me to lean into what I put on my body as a way to, yeah, embrace my body and try to be a more whole person. So, a lot of sewing plans, a lot of sewing processing. I may have been overly ambitious. I've definitely given myself a lot to sink my teeth into over the next, like 5 months? Yeah, I definitely consider winter to last like through March because it is still very cold here. So I have a lot to work on in the meantime, but I am definitely excited to kind of settle into that slower season. That is another thing that I like about the winter time. Like, yes, the days are shorter, but that's also like more slow, cozy time, hopefully, where I will be at my machine making cool stuff. So yeah, hopefully soon I will have gotten a good start on these and can kind of share a little bit about what I'm making. I am always curious what you guys are making, so whether that be for plans for the next several months or just what you are making right now. So let me know either in the comments below or go find me on Instagram. I love to chat with you guys. If you made it through this whole entire video, big kudos to you. I know this was very, very long, so thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Happy making. Bye!